Hello and welcome to Omni Deep Dive. We explore any topic from finance and technology to literature and science. Sit back, focus, and get ready to dive deep.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are locking the door and turning the lights down low for a deep dive into Freida McFadden's explosive psychological thriller, The Housemaid.
Oh, this one is a phenomenon. And for good reason. It doesn't just have a twist, it sort of performs a structural magic trick on the reader.
It really does.
And our sources all point to its intense focus on wealth, manipulation, and, the power dynamics between the haves and the have-nots.
Absolutely. Think of this as the most intense true crime book club meeting you'll ever attend. But look, we have to say this right up front. This is a thriller that hinges completely on a spectacular midpoint pivot.
Completely.
If you haven't read The Housemaid and you want that experience fresh, you have to stop listening right now.
Right.
Seriously, we are about to blow up the entire plot.
This is the biggest spoiler alert we have ever given.
It is.
So our mission today is to look at three things. First, that claustrophobic nightmare in part 1. Then, the jaw-dropping flip, how the villain becomes the victim.
Yeah.
And finally, we have to talk about the messy ethics of the revenge plot.
Okay, let's start right where McFadden wants us to start, with Millie Calloway.
Yeah.
She is fresh out of prison, on parole, and literally sleeping in her car. Her Casa Nissan, as she calls it. She is at absolute rock bottom.
And that vulnerability is everything. It's not just a character trait, it's the entire foundation of the plot.
Right.
So when she sees that ad for a live-in maid with a really, really good salary, all the alarm bells in her head just go silent. Her need, her criminal record, it makes her the perfect target.
She's disposable.
Exactly.
And from Millie's perspective, from our perspective, the villain is so clear in part 1, Nina Winchester.
Oh, she's awful, spoiled, high-strung, impossible standards, shifting the rules constantly. She seems to exist just to make Millie's life a living hell.
And the author is just so masterful at building our hatred for her.
It's the little cruelties,
Yeah.
the details. Like she tells Millie her daughter Cecilia has a deadly peanut allergy. And then Millie sees a giant jar of peanut butter in the pantry. Or the public humiliation, complain to her friends. It's so hard to find good help while Millie is standing right there.
It is the perfect caricature of the rich preying on the working class. This woman has a maid, a gardener, her kid is in school.
Yeah.
What does she even do all day?
It feels like a total power fantasy. And then you have Andrew, the husband.
The complete opposite.
He's kind, he's supportive, he's handsome. He seems just as trapped by his volatile wife as Millie is, so his kindness toward Millie feels like an escape for both of them.
But the whole time, the setting itself is just screaming warnings at her. Warnings she totally ignores.
Her attic room.
Oh, the attic room. Described like a horror film, tiny slants at ceiling, bad light. She literally says it's like some sort of torture chamber.
And then there's the door, the big physical clue.
Yeah.
She sees scratch marks, and she realizes the lock is on the outside.
To keep someone in, not to keep people out.
Exactly. That is not a design quirk, that's a prison.
And she even got a direct warning, didn't she? From Enzo, the gardener.
She did. He tries to warn her on her first day. He hisses the Italian word for danger pericolo, but she just brushes it off.
She's too focused on the money, on Andrew's handsome face.
And she's focused on the clues Andrew wants her to find. The haloperidol, that antipsychotic medication, the rumor that Nina tried to drown their daughter.
So by the time you get to the end of part I, you are 100% convinced Nina is a monster and Andrew is the hero who needs to be saved.
No question. You want Millie and Andrew to run away together. The whole thing is built for that.
And then you turn the page, and the perspective just snaps.
And the entire foundation of the book just collapses. It flips to Nina's point of view, and everything you thought you knew is wrong.
Yeah.
This is the masterstroke. It totally subverts that jealous, crazy wife trope by revealing she was the real victim all along.
Because Andrew Winchester, the charming husband,
is a monster, a textbook abusive monster. And his abuse wasn't just physical, it was this long campaign of psychological torture and coercive control.
This is where the book gets really powerful with its critique of how wealth and systems work together.
He didn't just gaslight her, he weaponized her environment. That attic room, that wasn't just some creepy spare room, it was his punishment cell.
He'd lock her in there for days.
For what? For missing a hair appointment or reading a book he didn't like?
Okay, but how did he get her institutionalized? That's the part that feels so chilling. Getting someone committed to Clearview Psychiatric Hospital. There should be checks and balances.
There should be. But this is where his money and connections come in.
Right.
The sources mention his father's golfing buddy was a director at the hospital, so he manipulated the entire system.
Yeah.
He framed her attempt to save Cecilia from a full bathtub as an attempted murder-suicide.
So the system that should have protected her was used to silence her.
Completely. And
Wait.
suddenly, all of Nina's cruelty from makes sense. It was all calculated, defensive.
And I find her resistance before the main plan so fascinating.
Her resilience is incredible. She realized being the perfect wife just made her easier to control.
So she became the shrew.
Exactly. She gained weight, let her appearance go, complained constantly. She tried to make herself someone he wouldn't want to control anymore.
And she got the IUD. That's a detail I think a lot of people miss.
Such a crucial detail. She secretly prevented him from having another biological child because she knew he'd use that child as another tool to trap her forever. A quiet act of sabotage.
Which all leads to this unbelievably complex revenge scheme. Plan B.
It's almost impossible to believe. She knew she had to get out, so she hired Millie to be a replacement torture toy.
Wow.
She knew Andrew would be drawn to Millie's vulnerability.
It's so risky.
And morally.
Very gray.
Oh, incredibly gray. The plan needed 3 things to work. The mutual attraction between Andrew and Millie, Millie hating Nina enough to ignore her own gut feelings.
Which Nina deliberately engineered.
Right. And finally, the opportunity for Andrew to make his move.
And Enzo, the gardener, he wasn't just an accessory, he was the co-conspirator.
He was everything. Her friend, her lover. And he had his own motivation. He'd lost a sister to a man just like Andrew. That's why he was there. His accent was even a partial disguise to help her plan in secret.
And he's the one who convinces Nina to go back for Millie.
Yes, which shows that even though the plan started as a cold sacrifice, Nina did develop a sense of solidarity. She couldn't just leave her there.
So the confrontation finally happens. Andrew locks Millie in the attic, watching her on a hidden camera. All our fears are confirmed.
But Millie doesn't break. She uses the pepper spray Nina planted for her, blinds him, and locks him in.
And this is where we get to the big ethical debate. The revenge.
And a key difference between the book and the film. In the book, Millie's revenge it's cold, it's premeditated, she makes him suffer, she rips out his teeth, and then she just leaves it.
It was more of a self-defense thing. Nina comes back, he escapes. Millie pushes him over the banister during a struggle. It's messy, but not as calculated.
And that's the core question the book leaves you with. Was Nina right to use Millie as bait? And was Millie's cold, calculated murder of Andrew justified, given the system failed them so completely?
It's hard, because you want justice. But that is not justice, that's pure retribution.
But the book argues that when the official channels are corrupted, those lines get very, very blurry for victims.
Which brings us to the clean getaway in part 3.
Right. Nina returns, ready to take the fall. Her mental health record makes her the perfect scapegoat.
But the whole thing only works because of one person. Detective Connors.
And this brings the theme of systemic failure full circle. Connors isn't just a detective. He has a personal reason to hate Andrew.
His daughter, Kathleen.
Andrew's ex-fiancée. He destroyed her life, too. So Connors knows Andrew is a monster who the law can't touch.
So he uses his own power to deliver a different kind of justice.
He calls the death an accident. He acknowledges the attic was a hazard and lets them both walk free. It's his way of saying the legal system is useless against men like Andrew.
It really hammers home that critique, that the very systems meant to protect can be weaponized by the wealthy.
The whole story is about that intersection of gender, class, and a justice system that fails the most vulnerable. It suggests that for these women, the only tools they had left were outside the normal rules.
And the cycle, or maybe you'd call it the mission, it continues, right, in the end.
It does. Nina gets her fresh start. But Millie takes another housemaid job on Nina's recommendation.
And she realizes instantly it's happening again. The new employer needs her for the same sinister reason, to be bait for an abusive husband.
But this time, Millie agrees. She accepts the role. She's no longer a victim. She's become a sort of secret operative, a dark avenger helping women escape.
It totally flips the domestic thriller genre on its head. It's not about escaping the monster anymore.
It's about becoming a strategic monster hunter. The big takeaway is just how it exposes the hidden realities of domestic abuse, where power and money let abusers manipulate everything.
So here's the thought I want to leave you with. If Detective Connors, acting on his own personal grief, decides to call Andrew's death an accident, effectively sanctioning vigilante justice, Does that fix the problem? Or does it just replace one kind of corruption with another? And what does that mean for Millie's new career path?
An absolutely crucial question about what justice really is.
Thank you for diving deep with us today. We'll see you on the next deep dive.
That wraps up this Omni Deep Dive episode. Thank you for listening. If you found value in today's deep dive, please click like and subscribe to our channel. Take care.